Greetings, sports fans. Welcome back to another episode of Edivision, the channel where we look at sports differently. Today, we'll be looking at sports on a different angle, as usual. I have a very special guest with me today, the owner and the founder of Phoenix All Star Football Academy, Mr. Craig Butler. How are you doing, sir?
Hi, not too bad, not bad at all. Thanks for having me.
And the family is okay and health
Yeah, man,
wise, you're doing good?
everybody's okay. Everybody's okay. With health, we just have to get up every day, and what we need to do is you live once, you die once. You work in between. So just do it.
True, true. All right. As I said before, I want to do things differently. You've been on many shows on YouTube and you haven't really dive into the Phoenix Academy 100%. So I want to do that this time around. Something different. First up, I want to ask, how did you come about this Phoenix Academy thing, football academy, from start to finish?
Well, the start is very long ago. It was in 1981. And
Mm-hmm.
at that time in Jamaica, you didn't have any structured under 13 or under 10 or under 14 football. You only had what was called the minor league, which was under 17. And so some of us, we grew up in an area called Meadowbrook in Jamaica. And some of us were good enough at 12 to be in the minor league squad of David Hunt. And some of us weren't. So that was David Hunt was Wagga, my mentor, one of my mentors growing up. And so he suggested, why don't we form a little team and just play in corner leagues, because you'd have corner leagues under 13, under 14 corner leagues. So my friends and I decided, let us form a team. But we also recognized that we were all poor. We all had no money. And many of us were fathers at the time. And we had no real pathway or security going forward to become, to self actualize, to become, whether it was a bank manager or a business owner or a footballer, whatever. So we said what we tried to do was to use football as a vehicle to carry us to success in whatever pathway we chose.
Mm-hmm.
And we knew it was going to be very hard. So we needed to create a name that would continuously motivate us to never give up when things got hard. And so we created the name Phoenix, which is a mythological bird that is found all over that can never die, you know? So we called it the Phoenix. And then we said, listen, none of us are better than anyone else. We're all stars. So we're going to name it Phoenix All Stars. And so we had that name for quite a while. There are many names in Jamaica that people hear but don't realize that they're original founding members of Phoenix. For example, um, Kirk and Kit Kennedy, accomplished engineers, also were original members. Richard Popcover McDonald, who now lives in Connecticut, is also a founding member. Christopher Williams from Proven, and
Proven.
he's also doing the Premier League in Jamaica. He's also a founding member. Lenny Bailey, no relation to Leon Bailey, was a founding member. He now lives in Florida. So perfect. So he went on to play the corner leagues, get motivated. That's my wife. She bring that charger for me. Yeah, thanks, Shirley. So get motivated and do what we needed to do. And many of us got football scholarships. We went on to play for JC. Many of us got football scholarships. Some just kept motivating, kept fighting, never giving up. And but professional football was not something that we dared even dream of back then. What we could hope for was maybe a football scholarship. I got one to Pace University and then went on to Boston. Chris Williams went to University of the West Indies. Keaton Kirk Kennedy as well. Richard McDonald went to Virginia, I think. So several of us got our chances. And that's how the original Phoenix came about. That's the original start. What would happen is, as the years went by, we vowed, we had a slogan that the Phoenix can never die. So at different junctures, wherever we we found that someone wanted to use football as a vehicle again, Phoenix would come up again and we'd restart. So Tyrone Marshall, for example, is a Phoenix. I was one of his first coaches. Gregory Simmons went into areas where people like Pot Cover would come back when we went to New York, until it reached a stage where I had gone on to be actually a pretty good footballer, if I may say so myself. I was playing for Swallowfield, Santos, and with Mark Mendel, I was at Swallowfield. And we were doing exceptionally well. He was the first person to actually try to pay players in Jamaica to make it professional. And it's funny, the JFF and CASAFA banned him for doing that. But he gave a lot of us opportunities, gave us jobs, helped us get scholarships, and one of the things I promised to do was to give back. So that's the real beginning of Phoenix. It culminated with things like, the 1998 World Cup campaign. I become the main sponsor of the national team with Toshiba, where I was the GM, and adopting my former captain, Peter Cargill, who I played with at Swallowfield when I was a youngster, and creating the Adopter Player Program. Later on, my son came and he wanted to be a footballer. He said he wanted to be a footballer at 5, and he asked me to coach him. Phoenix was rebirthed again, and then that's Kyle. So then we moved into areas where, kids just started to come out, left, right, and center. Chippy was one of those, Kevon Atkinson, kids from all walks of life,
You didn't have to advertise.
Downtown, everywhere. And you'd find that it's in Jamaica, or if you have a heart in Jamaica, you find yourself broke often, because you'll find kids coming to you with literally one or no parents. Kids being dragged up, kids not having any options, and being
So Butler, because he's having some technical issues. We'll have to wait on him to unfreeze. If you're watching this live or you're watching it on replay, please hit the like button. Subscribe if you're new. This is Eddie Vision. We'll be bringing a lot of content to you guys. The vision is clear. Vision is there. So join the family. Hit that subscribe button. Subscribe. So Butler?
Yes, can you hear me now?
Yeah, hearing you.
Okay, good. Yeah, so where did I leave off?
Where were you? You go broke. You go broke. You go broke if you follow Jamaicans.
So basically, I ended up adopting 23 kids, one after the other. Who didn't have a home to go to, whose father or mother got shot, whose mother died from an aneurysm, who wasn't getting fed properly. Just ended up adopting them. Just take them in the back of the Jeep and go home. Nothing formal, but them just ended up coming to live with us and never going home.
How you funded all of that?
But it all came through originally it came through just my efforts, work. Um, Few people eventually came on board and helped. Eddie Layton helped us when we were going to Europe. Never forget him for that. Um, we, we eventually got a little sponsorship, big sponsorship actually from Claro when they were in Jamaica,
Yeah.
about 10 million actually, and we were able to keep the academy going, build the academy, and then we went on to Europe and continued funding it through there. We still are self-funded to this day.
What are what are some of the challenges that you face running the academy?
Well, the biggest challenge we have is bad mind. Really, that's the biggest
Yes.
challenge we have. Instead of people trying to help or to support or even pattern what we're doing, people tend to try and put it down and try to block us in any possible way they can. I mean, our kids aren't even invited to the Kingston St. Andrew Football Association under 10 competitions. So our little 9 and 10-year-olds are left
Hmm.
out. No invitation is sent to us. You know? And when we ask about it, oh, we sent out invitations, but maybe you didn't get it. Of course, we have that lady you see walking here, she's probably the most efficient administrator on the planet. Shelley, if you send an email, if you send an email to me right now, within 2 minutes, I get a screenshot of that email and a conversation is started by her. So the bad mind is strong. A lot of people don't understand what we're doing and why we do it as well. So
Hmm.
it is difficult. The funding is there that would have been difficult in the past. Not so bad now because we have players that we've transferred into professional football and we're able to use that money to continue for the next generation. We have partnerships with Nike, so we don't have that much trouble with gears and equipment. But in general, one of the biggest challenges we have is our home ground at Mona High School. We're trying to make a nice feel and put stands in because it's really a really good location, and the boys are there training every day. And we're literally taking up stones off the pitch ourselves.
Hmm.
Planting grass ourselves, weeding the grass ourselves. So yeah, it hasn't been an easy road, but I know others who have been had harder times. But we've had
Yeah.
a great degree of success. We've built very, very talented players, not just Leon. Hundreds of players have come through our academy. You know,
Yeah.
hundreds, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to be a part of that, to be a conduit for advancement.
What sets Phoenix apart from the other academies?
Well, the major thing is the experience that we've had in Europe. 10 plus years experience going back and forth to Europe, learning from
Hmm.
clubs like Ajax about total football, learning from clubs like KRC Genk about skill sets and movement and development, professionalism, how to behave on and off the pitch, how to carry yourself in an interview,
Mr. Butler, freeze up again.
the importance.
Yeah.
You there?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah, the
here now.
importance of being two-footed, and the importance of recognizing the difference between what our strengths are as a nation and what the Europeans or Brazilians are, and creating a system in our academy that utilizes those strengths. So we are way ahead in terms of development. We're way ahead in terms of thinking, and we have what it takes to build a player from nothing to something special. We don't. We don't charge at the Phoenix Academy. We,
You
we,
want
we
to
only
say that
make
again?
money. We don't charge at the Phoenix Academy.
Free.
That's one of the major difference between us and others. We don't make money off the week to week, day to day. We look to make money when we transfer a player. When the
Right.
player is developed and he's at that level, we represent him and transfer him to a big club, to a club in Europe. So that's the major difference. Other academies are seeking to make money off the training that they do. And so I find that parents tend to have a say in the decisions of the coaches because they're paying you.
Put
With
pressure.
us, with us, you can't come tell me nothing. I'm going to do what I believe is best for the players and the academy, no matter who you are. So
Yeah.
that's a major difference between us and everybody else. Plus, I mean, we have 33 players that we have put, delivered to professional football. I don't think there are any clubs in Jamaica that have done that much, and most haven't done any.
Mhm.
So, I mean, that's the difference. We have a lot of players that go on to scholarships, and we have a lot of players that go on to professional football. So it's not about if you want a nursery school, if you're looking for a nursery school or somewhere to drop off your kids so you can go and do something on a Saturday or a Sunday, please don't come to Phoenix. We don't have any time for that.
Yeah. What is the secret, if you can share, the secret behind you producing so many talent?
Again, it is knowledge. Knowledge is power. It's
Mm-hmm.
understanding, as I said, what our strengths are and building a system around that and understanding the importance of a system. Understand a system is not a formation. A system is how you play. Come in. A system come. A system is how you play. And hold on. No, eh? Are you leaving? Okay. So that's the whole idea behind what we've been doing. We are creating more technical. We focus on technique from day one. Technique, 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 technique. And we focus on utilizing that technique with what our strengths: speed, skill, tenacity, strength, intelligence. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and incorporate those into a system. You should see how fluid Phoenix is. I mean, it is when I go to games now to play a match, I am laughing, I'm joking, I'm teasing the opposing coach. I'm going and hanging out with him. I'm telling him about the system we're playing and that he should try and look at it and adopt it in his club or school.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm not doing any coaching because
You
I've already done
understand.
the coaching on the pitch, on the
Right.
training pitch. So I have no. And some people might say it sounds like we're cocky or showing off, but we're not. It's just what it is. We put in the work.
Mm-hmm. You spoke about development of the Mona grounds, but what's next for Phoenix other than that?
Well, we've evolved in terms of the international market. We are now able to get games with Atletico Madrid, with KRC Genk,
Mm-hmm.
with Club Bruges, Ajax. We have really made a benchmark, so we're well known worldwide, and we're well respected worldwide because we've gone to Aston Villa, beaten them. We've gone to Crystal Palace, beaten them. We've been to Genk, we've won. We've been to Leverkusen, we tied. So we've had players going on trials at Ajax. We have had Ajax coaches coming to Jamaica. We've had Genk coaches coming to Jamaica to Phoenix. So we have developed to a level where we are so respected that it's not as hard for us to move players or to get people to believe that we have talent because we're proving it. And so the next thing is to move at least 8 or 10 of the players that we have, pretty much after the Manning Cup season, into professional football because we have a lot of them playing at Mona. We have, Whisper Richards, who he may stay and play at KC, or if everything comes through before, he will go to KRC Genk. So it's a different, yet so much opportunity, so much talent, and now we are looking to take it to another level. And one of the things that I want to do is within the next couple of transfers is to buy into a club into mainland Europe and start to put our players in that club and have like how the Saudis do, and have the players playing in the league, dominating or winning the league, and then having bigger transfers to bigger clubs and actually making more money out of it. So it's evolution. It's thinking outside the box. It's thinking, how can we make our academy, and by extension Jamaica and the Caribbean, into a superpower in football? Not hoping that, some club in some lower league somewhere would give me 100,000 for one of my players, and I'm just so glad to get the player sold. I'm jumping all over the news with it. No, I want us to be respected, valued, and developed properly, and that's where our focus has been.
So basically, you're saying you develop to send abroad and not locally.
No, I would never sell a player locally. Never. Never. Any players for Phoenix that is playing locally have failed at Phoenix.
Okay.
They've had to have failed at Phoenix and gone, or they weren't good enough to go to the next level. Anybody is playing in the local Premier League or anything like that, because Chris, who is my good friend, is trying to develop the league, to commercialize it, to make it bigger. But before you do that, you have to get the coaching up to scratch. The coaches are not that endowed, and it's not because of being stupid or unintelligent or unambitious. It's just that they haven't gotten the roadmap yet. It's like when I went to Europe for the first time, I thought I knew about football. After about 6 months, I realized I didn't even know 2% of what I needed to know.
Exactly.
So I'll come home and I'm telling people, boy, brethren, you really don't know about this thing. And they're going to say to me, oh, you're cocky, you're show off, you're arrogant, you think you're better than everybody else. And I'm just trying to say, no, you really don't know. You don't know about development. How are you going to know about development and you have players coming out of Manning Cup, right, winning Olivier Shield, and cannot use them right foot? You sentence that person to doom, even if you send them on trial. You have to understand they videotape each game. And before, say for instance, let's talk about Belgium. Say for instance, Anderlecht is about to play against Genk, right? The coach and his staff and analysts look at Genk and I look at the players and say, okay, well, this person is weak in this area. That person is weak in this area. Let's exploit this, right? So say, for instance, you can't tackle with your left foot and you're playing right back. The instruction will always be cut in on your left. Tell the winger, cut in on that right back left. Don't go down the line. Cut in every time.
Cutting is weaker.
Yeah, if it's the opposite, if you're a left winger and you can't use your right foot, they just said, listen, put 2 men on the outside, block the left side, so he can't go down the left side. Make him cut in on the right foot, which he can't use. And he will just give it the ball. So it's more in the head football. And if you don't prepare your players properly, they will fail, you know? And that is part of the big problem that we have with Jamaica. Only put them on and just think they know it, you know? I respect people like Carlton Dennis, you know? I saw him the other day, Spanner. You know Spanner? See Spanner, and
Yeah, man, no spanner, man.
Spanner was telling my coach, my assistant coach I have at Mona, Mr. Taylor, that, hey, I used to coach him at under 16, eh? And I'm laughing to myself and I'm saying, yes, man, he used to coach me. You know. I respect you, you know, Godfather, but you know, leave Jamaica, go Europe, go advance you. Your coaching education. You never go one of them big club there and sit down and learn how they develop their players or how they play systems. So how you going to teach the youth them nowadays to go and dominate when you go against a Genk or a Anderlecht or a Aston Villa or them club? You can't. And it's not his fault. It's the federation's fault. And it's not even so much their fault. It's their fault because when you have people, because it's not just me. Do you know that the chief scout at Chelsea is Jamaican?
Yeah, I've heard. And I think Manu as a scout as well, a
Yeah?
Jamaican scout.
Yeah, man, you have one. The point I'm making is you have people all over the upper echelons of football that have connections to Jamaica or who would be willing to invest.
Mm-hmm.
But because we're so fearful of losing what we have, you know, not me, I mean, I talk about JFF and I'm talking about the coaches that are here and those in charge. They're so fearful of losing what they have that they will not embrace somebody who offers a olive branch, offers help. You understand? So
Mm-hmm.
our coaches continue to not be able to get into the UEFA um, education. They not be able to get into, say, for instance, what they call practicums. I partner with Genk, yeah, because they wanted to have Leon and Kyle and Sharky at the time. You know what part of my agreement is? In order for you to have my players here, you must give me a practicum with the club. I must be able to come and learn from the club, coach at the club, participate with everything to do with your team. Your technical training, your 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 match preparation, how you talk to your players, what you do. So I learn. And anywhere I go, I learn. Yeah? Leon
Mm-hmm.
went to Aston Villa. Part of the deal is Aston Villa must play against our academy so they can see our players. Yeah, because if you were to say that Aston Villa could have beat the league champions, I mean, Phoenix could have beaten the league champions of England in under 18, under 19, everybody would say, you're crazy, you're lying. But when we go and we play Aston Villa and they have their full squad out and it's videoed by Aston Villa and we win by 7 goals to 4, then you have to put some respect on your name, you know?
Definitely, definitely.
So that is where I think the problems are. That is where I think we need to go. Um, I mean, you have so many former professional footballers that could help our national program if they were educated properly. And for example, Tapa. At the beginning, I was very supportive of Tapa. You know? I was the one that said we needed to have local coaches or local former heroes become coaches. But it was not Tapa alone that I asked for. I asked for Bibi Gardner, I asked for Ian Goodison, Walter Boyd, Anandi Lowe, all of them. getting proper, and this is where they went wrong. All of them getting proper practicums and qualified, not from the Caribbean basin, but from the European, from UEFA. Yeah, because if you want to sell players to Europe, you can't be qualified coaching in the Caribbean. You have to qualify and know what is, so you know what is they're looking for in Europe, right?
Good point. Good point.
Yeah, it's like, you know, if you want to learn how to fix Audi, you know, stay at Jamaica. You have to go Audi where them build Audi and go learn, and then you'll be the master mechanic, right?
True.
So this is where the challenges are, and whenever people offer, like myself, offer to help, them no want to help because Craig Butler want to take over. I don't need to. I have nothing left to prove. Nothing left to prove. I have my forefathers in football, my mentors, Winston Chongfa, yeah, Mark Mendel, David Hunt. Only one of them is still alive, and that's Jimmy Sinclair. Yeah, and the rest of them, I know, are proud of me because I've gone past where they've ever gone. You understand? So the mantle has been lifted, the baton taken, and I take my leg of it. I've taken Jamaica to another level. You know, so I don't need to prove nothing to anybody. I don't need to challenge for any JFF position. Be a headache for me now. What I'm doing is what I need to do. Advocate well for Leon, advocate well for the rest of my players, get them opportunities in Europe, put them on the pitch and they deliver, support them, and support our national team. The problem is that there's a lack of vision and a lack of ambition in those that are managing the islands football. There's no ambition. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
If you had ambition, let me give you an example. Xander Bicknell, which is one of our players, and Kyle Butler. Kyle was unfit and returning to football, and Xander was young and looking for an opportunity to go, and he's a U.S. citizen as well, my U.S. passport. And Tulsa, who is in the second division of the MLS, offered both contracts. We turned them down. Yeah? The national under 20
Where was
went and
that?
played. Eh?
Why was that? Why you turned down the offer?
I'm going to tell you. The national under 20 went and played, and Pearson from Cavaliers was offered a contract with Tulsa. They were glad to take it.
And he took it, yeah.
Yeah? Now, I don't know if he's left yet, but he was glad. They were glad to take it. Now, I see that Pearson isn't finished. Pearson is by far not finished developing. There's a lot of work that should have gone into him rather than just having him play. But for me, if you have a player with a talent level of a Xander Bicknell and you want him to go further, is he going to get the coaching and the guidance, the challenges that he needs at a second division club in the MLS? What is his trajectory going to be? What is the trajectory of 99.999% of the Jamaicans that go into the second division of the MLS or even the first division? What has their trajectory been? Has it been up or down? How many players from the Jamaican that has gone into the MLS have moved into Europe and gone further? Tell me one.
Come to mind, it's just one a taxi that went to Belgium from
And
out
where
of
did
MLS.
taxi go after a season, half a season?
Went back to the MLS.
Exactly.
I can't think of anybody else.
Yeah. So the truth of it is, And the reality of it is that
And you have
if you
Plymouth leave
want
and
advancement, it's like a man who sell him, you, know, you have your prize donkey, your prize horse, right? And a man come offer you $2 for your prize horse. And because you're hungry today, you just sell your prize horse. They better you hold your belly, man,
mm-hmm.
eh? And try go to the market with your horse where it can become a racehorse rather than a donkey. You get me? Where you
Yeah.
can play with quality players, get quality coaching to the next level. And I tell you, the coach at Tulsa, who he is left now, Michael Ensign, is a very good friend of mine. He spent time with me here in Jamaica. We go out on the boat, we do things together and so on. And he's a good coach. But it's not just the coach, it's the environment. It's are people looking for Jamaicans to advance in the US? Or are they looking to move their own homegrown talent? You tell me. You look at the US program.
No, it's designed for their players.
Exactly. So why you said it taking your players now and run over this ago? Throw them to the bottom of the ladder. Throw them to the back of the line. And that's what's gonna happen. They're at the back of the line.
Because Mr. Butler, what they want, and they think about getting the bag and they think about getting the money. So when you come from Jamaica,
Exactly.
you're not getting paid. The first
Exactly.
opportunity you get, you're going to take it.
And that is why Rudolph Speed uses the national team as his personal showcase. That is why players like Dujon Whisper Richards was not in the under 20, and yet still everybody on that under 20 team will tell you that he's the best under 20 player in the country. The same players that on the team will tell you that. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
Don Hugh Mitchell, best centre half, right? And it's a continuous thing. Leon Bailey was not called to Jamaica's under 20. And Leon at the time was 18 years old and dominating the 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 the, the Belgian Pro League. He was Belgian Young Player of the Year.
Mm-hmm.
And Tapa didn't call him for Jamaica under 20. Now they repeated the same thing with Whisper. Yeah? And several others. Why? Because in their mind, they believe that if Whisper goes on the tour, Whisper will get the opportunity that would have probably gone to a Cavaliers player. You get me? And Craig
Mm-hmm.
Butler would have make money and beat up him chest. But what they don't know is, me not sell my player them at that level. Not my prize players, not my top players. I am working assiduously every day to ensure that I get the best possible opportunities for them. That I advocate as best former players as I can. Whether they're at the youth level or they're at Leon Bailey's level. I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna do what I believe is important for them. And before I
So,
even sign a
Mr.
player,
Butler,
eh?
so, all right, let me give you a scenario. Suppose a big transfer coming for Whisper for Qatar. You're sending
No,
him, you're sending him to Qatar?
no. You could have given
What?
me $50 million in answer them.
Okay. It's all about development.
You have to, one of the things that you need to do, they always say, be careful that you gain vision but lose sight. Yeah? One must always look, not just here at what you can get, but way down the line. I think 10 years in advance. Everything
Mm-hmm.
that is happening with Leon and the academy now, I planned that for 15 years in advance. And I knew what I needed to do to make it happen. The sacrifices that needed to be made to learn. It wasn't just for Leon. While I was going back and forth, I was learning in Austria. I was learning in Belgium. I was learning in Holland. I was learning in Slovakia. I went to Germany and I learned. So when I came back, my raw materials that I had in Jamaica, which I consider to be better than anywhere else in the world, I just start tweak them and work on them. Why do you think Whisper looks so? There's a video in a Europa Cup. You see that video there? A man, I said, you hear me shout from the sideline, cut, he's on the left side. I said, cut in, Whisper, cut in. And he cuts inside onto his right foot, which they perceive to be his weaker foot. And you hear a man in the background, him not have no right, him not have no right. I Whisper bust it from about 25 yards with him right foot, straight up in the pitch. Because he's training every day with both feet, 60 to 100 times, doing the same drill, over and over, repetition, over and over and over until him get it right. If you look at the way Leon cuts it, every winger at Phoenix do the same thing. Every single winger. And they're taught to be unpredictable. So they will cut in or they will go down the line because the 2 foot them work perfectly. You know?
Yeah, man. And that's very unique, you know, because you rarely find players that are so excellent with both feet.
Yeah. But again, that's, as I said, that is part of the game. Part of the whole management, development game. You look at, I've studied the masters, you know, motivation. You ever heard of a guy called Vince Lombardi?
He's what again?
He was the one of
Some
the
NFL
winningest coaches in the
coach in
NFL
NFL. Yeah,
from the
man.
Green Bay Packers.
They named the
Yeah?
trophy after him. Vince
Yeah.
Lombardi trophy.
Yes. And he has, you know, he has a lot of speeches from him, you know. One about winning. That winning is not a sometime thing, it's an every time thing. You understand? There are 2 types of people in the world. There are winners and there are losers. Which one you want to be? If you want to be a winner, you have to put in the work. You know? Phoenix trains twice a day, 5 days a week. You know? They
You
do
train harder
public
than
speaking
most clubs.
practice. Eh?
You train harder than most clubs.
They train harder than all clubs. And why do we train harder than all clubs? Just think about it. Do the math, right? If you go to Spain and you go on a trial, and when you go to Spain, Germany, Belgium, wherever, the coach that is coaching the under 19s, he probably moved up in the club from the under 12s or even younger each year with that team. So you go this year under 12, next year under 14, next year under 16, next year under 18, next year under 19. So the kids that are playing for him in the under 19, he probably has known them for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years. He's the one who developed them, right? Each time I negotiate with a club to get a player on trial, it usually goes through the owner of the club or the technical director or the head of the youth, right? Because that's how they work. They have the sports directors. You have the like for instance, Dimitri Deconde is the director of football for KRC Gang. Under him, you have Kundarden, who is the head of the youth for KRC Gang, right? But they are not the coaches. They are who go out and recruit and select. So, for example, if my player goes and he goes on trial at a club in Spain, and that coach, my player plays wing, and the player that the coach has in the team currently, the coach developed since he was 12 years old. How easy is it going to be for my player to get that player's spot and be selected by the team to join them? You think it's going to be easy? It's almost impossible. You can't
Difficult.
just be better. You have to be 10 times better. You can't just be stronger. You have to be 10 times stronger. You can't just be fitter. You have to be 10 times fitter. Because you're going to make 10 runs before you get one ball. And when you make that run and you get that ball, you better make it count. So imagine, right? If I have my academy, Phoenix, here in Jamaica, and a player from Spain want to come and make the academy. Yeah? And he plays right wing, and Whisper play right wing. And me I build Whisper for so much years. How him gonna get that position? It's almost impossible. So he have to be a superhuman being. He have to impress me beyond impress me. In
Yeah.
addition to that, they have to be super well behaved, super
And Mr.
well
Butler,
groomed.
that ties into my next question. What talents, outside talent, have to do to make this team, make this Phoenix team?
What
So you can
outside
continue.
talents have to do to make Phoenix?
Yeah.
Well, Phoenix is not about making a team. Phoenix is about individual development. So when we
Or
play as a
yeah,
team,
part. Yeah.
yeah, we play matches, but it really is about, okay, Whisper played this match, he needs to work on this. Duvey played this match, he needs to work on that. Okay, Duvey, you played, you did well in the first half, come off and give Brick, a kid we know called Brick a chance to play now so he can work on his things. So it's all about development. So even if you notice last year Mona played Manning Cup, and within the Manning Cup team, I think it's only one player at Mona wasn't a Phoenix player. And if they miss a shot, the man them stop in the game and doing push-ups in the middle of Manning Cup because their focus is not on Manning Cup. Their focus is on their career in football.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I'm very excited about it, and we need to just continue. Um, the concept that Jamaicans have that talent is enough, it's not enough. Public speaking and image projection, languages, understanding the cultures of where you're going to go, right? Humility, the ability to sustain, literally sustain abuse and hold it. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
One of the things people will do to get you out, is all of those people that are throwing bananas at black people that are playing. And them throw bananas and them call them nigger and them doing all those things. You think they're really doing it just because they're racist? They're doing it because they figure if they do it to you, they can break you down and make
Yeah.
you not play good or come off the pitch and
Mm-hmm.
help the team to win. So we have to prepare our players to be powerful enough and confident enough in themselves that no matter what a man said to you, you're going to laugh at him and score two more goals than net. You know? So that is what we do at Phoenix that is different from anybody else. You know? Just imagine a training session where when you're finished training and night is coming down, you have 6 back-to-back 400 meters. So you sprint one, then you walk one. Then you sprint one, then you walk one. So 6 in total, right? So it's 12 in total, really, because you walk in one and each time you go, 3 people go at a time. And the man who come last, he has to go an additional one every time. Just imagine that being your everyday go home after training.
Mash up.
And you're doing it for the last 5 years. As some animal you're creating, as some
Yeah.
monster, can't tired, powerful, mentally tough. We have players that are with us who are from Portugal. And They came, they were nice guys, well behaved, decent. Now, on the pitch,
Beast.
beasts. Yeah? When they go home to their nice little friends and expats and whatever, whatever. But you see, once I come to Phoenix, is the Agogi. You watch 300, the movie?
Yeah.
You know, the Agogi where them training players? That's how we are. We don't we don't ask people to fix our field. We take off the stones ourselves, one by one. Every man take off 40 stone before the training start. If you go up at Mona and look around the pitch, you see little mounds of stones where we just put the stone them and build them. If you're late for training, you have 10 handful of weeds to bring. So you have to take out the weeds off of the field.
Mm.
Feel clean, you know? So I think that and that's another thing that we're lacking. We lack mental toughness as a nation. You ever notice that whenever our senior team plays, a lot of goals score on us just before the half or just before the game done? The mental toughness that it takes to hold it and get
Yeah.
through.
Last minute goals.
Yeah, man, it's not there. And it has to be there, and it doesn't come from calling a player to come and play 4 days out of his career for Jamaica. It comes when they're young, when they're little. Leon Bailey and Kyle Butler learned to kick the ball barefoot. Every Phoenix player. When they come to training, when they're young, little, I mean like 4, 5, 6 year old, take off your shoes, kick the ball with the laces. They all use size 5 balls. Don't use size 4 or size 3 or whatever. Size 5. Kick the ball with the laces. If they try to kick it with their toe, it's going to hurt them. So initially, that first contact is going to be made with their legs. And it feels, I don't know if you play football at all?
Yeah, man.
You ever kick a
Sunday
ball
league.
barefoot and feel the feeling that it give it feels nice, you know? You go, pie! Man, it feels nice, man. If you get it right. And so, once you develop that way, if you look at the Brazilians, yeah, they do that. Even there's a academy in Belgium called the Barefoot Academy. You should Google it. That's where Yaya Toure and them guys come out of, the brothers.
Okay.
Barefoot. That's how they learn. The ball control, everything. First, barefoot. Yeah? And then you work with the shoes. You know? And
Mm.
so, yeah, that's some of the things we do differently.
Mr. Bailey now. Mr.
Mr.
Butler.
Who?
Mr. Butler. Because I segueing into Leon Bailey. Because you know, Avian, you have to talk about Leon. Do you think that Leon is happy in England right now?
I think he likes England. He does like England a lot. Um, you have to understand in England they're speaking English. So it's easier to make friends, easier to go out to dinner, easier to do things. So from a social perspective, I'm sure he loves England. He always wanted to play in England. He always wanted to go to England. That's one of our, as Jamaicans, that's one of the things we want to do. We want to play in the
Mm.
Premier League. Does it mean that he likes the bench? No. Does it mean that he should be off the bench if he doesn't deserve to be off the bench? Absolutely not. If he's not playing well, he should sit on the bench.
Mm.
However, if he is playing well, if he deserves to play, and you put him on the bench, then the job of the manager is to advocate Yeah. And that's one of the things that I take seriously. A manager must be a zealous advocate for his client. Zealous, zeal, zealots. If you look at the whole history of that word, it means be prepared to go to war for your client. It doesn't mean that you are a busybody or someone that is difficult to get along with. I'm one of the nicest guys you can find around. So long as you keep your part of the bargain, so long as you honor your promises, and so long as my client is getting what he's supposed to get. I've looked at Leon and said to Leon in the past, Brethren, you're not performing, you need to step it up, you need to do this or do that, or stop doing this or stop doing that. Are you eating properly? Are you going to your bed at night? Call and check you're sleeping. Yes, I'm sleeping. Make sure, you know.
Has he been given a reason? Has he spoken to Stevie J?
It's not his job to speak to Steven Gerrard. You understand? Let me tell you something. One of the main things that you don't want to do, you notice how people say Leon Bailey is a nice guy, but Craig Butler, his manager, is a monster?
Yeah.
That's what they're saying. But if you go around and you check every single top player in the world, Pogba is a nice guy, but Mina Raiola, God rest his soul, was a monster.
Mm-hmm. So
Cristiano
as the
Ronaldo is
monster,
such a nice guy, but George Mendes, he's such a monster.
so as the monster, Mr. Butler, you're saying
It's
that
our job.
you speak to Stevie Gerrard?
I spoke to those who I needed to speak to,
Okay.
and I did what I needed to do. But again, we don't want to be difficult with the clubs, and they're going through a difficult time. We're not asking for favors. We're not asking for anything that Leon wouldn't deserve. But the player in his preseason scored goals, assisted goals, and worked his ass off. He went into the games, he scored goals, you put him on the bench, he come off the bench, he scores. You know? He's assisting goals in games,
Mm-hmm.
then it means then that what is the problem? The problem would be a system. And
Yeah,
the
I was just
system that
about to.
Gerard is using doesn't
I was
use
just about to
wingers.
touch on that. Yeah,
Yeah, so if you
wingless,
don't use wingers,
very
then
narrow.
yeah, if you don't use wingers and Leon is a winger that does well with space, then A, you're going to limit his performance, and B, you may not even use him because you want people that work inside. And that is what is happening, was happening. So, um, I advocated for my client. And he
Uh,
played against Arsenal, played the 90
yes,
minutes.
play the 90 minutes. Yeah, good
And in
game.
that 90 minutes, I watched the game. I think it was a tough game for Aston Villa and a tough game for Leon. But I also believe that he was one of the best players on the pitch. Yeah,
Mm-hmm. He
his
forced
performance was
Ramsdale
good.
into a couple saves.
Yes, he got opportunities, created opportunities. He tried to set players. He took shots. He worked his ass off. But as I said, you know, half of successful teams are not based on tactics. They are based on the team willing to fight for the coach. Ancelotti is not one of the most technical coaches, but they win Champions League, don't,
Yeah,
because
true.
the players love him. Yeah,
One
it's,
thing though, Mr. Butler, persons might say, can Leon play in another position to get into this team? Is he versatile enough to play central?
The question is not whether Leon has played attacking midfield for Phoenix as a youth growing up.
Mm-hmm.
He's, as I told you before, we train our players for this very same reason, to play the four lines of attack: center forward, right wing, left wing, and attacking mid. For this very same reason, which I spoke about to you earlier.
Mm-hmm.
But if Leon's aspirations is to be one of the best players in the world, let's just do it in a rough, ugly way. If Pele was made to play centre half, right? Would he have been a good centre half? Sure. But would he have been the best centre half in the world? I don't think so.
Mm-hmm.
So if Leon Bailey's aspirations is to be regarded in history as one of the best players that ever played the game, he has to play in the position that would be for the team, yes, because it's a catch-22 situation, If you say he has to play in the position that is best for him, people will say, oh, well, that's selfish. He needs to play for the team.
Exactly.
But if the best position for him allows him to score and create goals for the team, and the team wins, then the best position for him is also what's best for the
For
team.
the team. For the team, yeah, true.
You understand? But people,
Yeah.
as I say, may have vision but lose sight. Because you have to be able to see beyond just what's on the front. Oh, he has to play for the team, he has to learn to play other positions. Okay. But what if when Leon plays right wing, he scores every time? What if when he plays right wing, he gets assists and set up assists, so he beat everybody and he's scoring goals and winning? You want to
Mm-hmm.
stick to that system? I have at Phoenix developed systems that are no longer have not been seen in the world yet. The systems that I use currently have
Mm-hmm.
not been seen in the world as yet. I do not use defenders. There are no defenders in my team. None.
Or is it
So you
that you
might
have
say, Jesus, what is going on?
or is
This
it
man
that
is
you have
mad.
defensive players that are good on the ball?
We are playing our game in the opponent's half, in fact, in the opponent's quarters, and we're pressing as a unit all the way up the pitch. So the only thing, because we're faster than everybody else, I be a 400-meter, 100-meter sprinter in my team. Who can play football?
Mm-hmm.
My first three steps is going to be faster than your first three steps, offensively and defensively. So you won't be able to get the ball out of that back line. So I don't need traditional defenders that drop off. My defenders are playing halfway up the other half. But why can I do that? Can I do that if I was slow? If I had slow players? Can my players shift from one side of the pitch to the other side if the ball is played in the air fast enough to get it before the opponent can control it? Yes, we can.
Mm-hmm.
Because now the system that I've created is a Jamaican system built for Usain Bolt if he was a top footballer and a Safa Powell. You understand? That could play football, that were if they were developed in football, right? And you had the level Usain Bolt on the field. And you shift from left to right. What time is it, boss?
People smash the like button, please. Subscribe if you're new. This is Eddie Vision. I'm here talking to Leon Bailey's handler. It's a Craig Butler, founder and owner of Phoenix All Stars Football Academy.
You see how my thing run? I have a boss, My boss is the wife. My wife come and say, watch a Friday night. movies, my time.
All right, we see we'll let you go. We see we'll let you go.
Yeah. So
What's the question I'm gonna ask? Ajax. Talk to me about Ajax. We heard some early rumors that Leon might make the late switch to Ajax. Any truth in that? What was that about?
Ajax approached, and Ajax and us have had a long-standing relationship, just like we have a long-standing relationship with Genk, with Leverkusen.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we're committed to Aston Villa. Yeah. If
Mm-hmm.
things don't work out at Aston Villa and if things are not working, and Ajax is an option, which they were, we would take it.
So if a bid came in, you're saying that Leon would be an
But
Ajax
no
player
bid
right now?
can come in because we're committed to Aston Villa. You
Right, I
understand?
hear you. I hear
We
you.
love Ajax, we love Genk, we love Leverkusen. But
Yeah.
Leon is contracted to Aston Villa. He loves his teammates, he loves the club, he lives in the area of Birmingham, he's doing his job. We cannot get up and leave and go to Ajax just because there's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
We can advocate to fix the problem quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And if the problem isn't fixed over a period of time and we can't reach a mutually beneficial understanding for the player, then of course the player will have to leave and go to another club. He plays football for a living.
Mm-hmm.
That's how he lives. If Leon sits on the bench at Aston Villa and his contract is up, right?
He
Just look
has
at the
two
long term.
years. Two is
Look
it
at the
2 years
long
left?
term. If Leon sits on the Aston Villa for 3 years and sits on the bench and doesn't play, do you
The
think that when
value.
his contract is up, they're going to renew it
No, and the value his value will
and his
decrease
value will
tremendously.
plummet?
Yep.
So if I, as his manager, advocate and say, make sure he gets to play, because this was what was agreed. If he's fit and he's talented, he needs to play. That's why you brought him there. If I do that,
Do you think
I'm doing it to help Leon.
he'll be playing games under the previous manager, Dean Smith?
Dean Smith loved Leon a lot. It was Dean Smith who brought Leon to
Brought him
Aston
in.
Villa.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think Gerard has a lot of respect for Leon and his abilities
But
because
just it's just a
when
system.
Leon played for Genk and Gerard was at Rangers
Rangers.
in the Europa Cup, Leon scored and beat them. When he played for Leverkusen and in the Europa Cup again against Rangers, Leon scored and beat them. So I'm sure Mr. Gerard will have a lot of respect for Leon. The problem is you as a coach, your system, and maybe it has a little bit to do with just how things are in England, maybe. But I believe that a coach's system should be geared towards the players that he has, not the players geared towards his system. You understand? So if you have wingers, a lot of good wingers, then you need to play wide. If you don't have a lot of good wingers, then you pack it in and you play in the middle. If you have a lot of slow players, yeah, you can't send a lot of through passes because they can't catch it. I went to Real Sociedad and the under 17s. They knock it, go all the way down to the opponent goal line and knock it, come all the way back. No through passes, right? But why? Because they don't have any fast players. But their technique and quickness is there. Yeah? So teams play systems based on the personnel that they have available. You know? And the better the coach is the more adaptable and willing he is to incorporate the pieces that he has into a, a unit that works, a system that works. It's not the other way around. If I didn't have fast players, I couldn't play the system I play at Phoenix now. I couldn't.
True.
I'm in the middle of a game shouting to a player, you're not playing center half. Do not back off. You're not playing center half. And the player is already 10 yards above the half line. Why? Because I know if them kick out the ball, he can walk and collect that ball. And the other person can't catch it. I know that he can sustain, we can sustain a press for 90 plus minutes from start to end. People looked at me before and say, you can't press for 90 minutes. Phoenix can, because of the background that we have. But Real Sociedad can't do it because they don't have that background. They have a technical skill. That man, they pass the ball so hard. And if you don't have super ball control, you can't play with them. And why they pass it hard? Because they make the ball do the work because they're not fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's different in different countries. Germany, different. Belgium, different. Holland, different. Slovakia, different. Africa, different. Mexico, different. But where's Jamaica's identity? What have we created other than calling people just before 4 or 5 days before a game? 2 weeks before a tournament for under 20, this is when the coach show up.
Yeah, with the camp.
Yeah, you're sick in the head or what? What are you thinking? Albert Einstein said the surest sign of insanity is doing the same thing the same way and expecting different results. Brethren, I forgot my wife can beat me.
All right, then. Respect for showing up. It was a pleasure talking to you. I'm sorry the fans couldn't get to ask questions, but big up yourself, Craig Butler.
No, man, it's all right. We feel away. Make we get the fans. Whatever questions they need for us.
Fans, if any questions, FPL Bailey is a huge Leon Bailey fan. Any question for Craig Butler? Going once? Any questions, guys? All right, then. No questions.
Excellent. Gone.
Big up yourself. Thanks again for joining us.
Yeah, man. Respect.
All right, folks. So out. Thanks for watching. Respect. Always remember, like, share, and subscribe. You know the matter.